Jukebox, der beste Sound der Stadt mit Dirk Konrad.
Wer erinnert sich nicht an Disco-Kracher oder Disco-Hits wie Le Freak, Everybody Dance oder Good Times? Ich rede natürlich von der Supergruppe Chic, deren Hits damals in allen Diskotheken rauf und runter gespielt wurden. Ich hatte unlängst die Gelegenheit, den wunderbaren Nile Rodgers von Chic per Zoom zu interviewen. Im Alter von 15 Jahren hörte Nile Rodgers die erste Musik. Doch welche Bands das waren, überraschte sogar mich. Deshalb stellte ich ihm die Frage, welche Bands ihn beeinflusst haben. Waren das etwa die Doors oder die Beatles, die er damals hörte? Okay, the first question is, at the age of 15, you heard music from the Doors and the Beatles.
Yes.
At the first time, did these bands still influence you, or are there some other bands?
Well, the history influences me. They don't influence my writing, but they influence my happiness and my memories. It's unbelievable. It was life-changing memories.
Okay.
But I've never tried to write like the Doors. I've never tried to write like the Beatles, which is interesting because you would think that one would. I mean, look at how many bands copy the Beatles' style of writing, but I never did that. Mainly when I started to compose, I was more interested in jazz. And it just so happened that in the disco era, so many jazz musicians were getting hit records, just doing, dance tempo records. And so the very first song I ever wrote for Chic was a song called Everybody Dance. And it has such cool chord changes. Like you didn't hear chord changes like that until you heard a group like Toto or something. Just, you know what I mean? Rock bands didn't do that. I saw an interview with Wynton Marsalis yesterday, and he said something really interesting. He said that, people who play pop music, they have to play the same thing over and over and over and over again because they're slaves to that lick, right? You know what I mean? And if you listen to my guitar playing, I don't play the same thing twice ever. So I'm a slave to the composition, as is Wynton Marsalis. But I have freedom because I'm a jazz player. So whenever we have to do what we call a track date, I have to come up with a new part because I can't play the original part. I can't remember it because I only played it like that night, that day when we did it, that recording, that take.
Yeah, but you still start in the studio band of the Sesame Street. Is that true? Do you think back to that time?
So it was great to have that kind of experience. Imagine you go into audition and the music that you have to read is music that was played by Toots Thielemans. Guitar players are notoriously bad music readers. Well, because I come from a classical and jazz background, I walked in and I looked at the music and I was able to just play it right away. And they, hire him.
You did all that fantastic music with the Hitmaker guitar. Do you still play your first guitar?
So the Hitmaker wasn't my first guitar, but the Hitmaker was my my first solid body electric guitar. And because I played jazz guitars or I played classical guitars. But once I switched over to the Hitmaker, I've never not used it. I mean, it's the only guitar I play. I still carry it on my back. I can go right in the other room and get it for you. That's it. Because no other guitar sounds like that. I mean, now that Fender is making new Hitmakers, they sound extremely close, and I actually love them. I mean, I've recorded with them. They sound great. But they still wouldn't quite go thin enough with the headstock. So
Okay.
Hitmaker just is a little bit brighter and it
Yeah.
any groove.
Okay. You're currently managing the Apple Music's first deep hitting meaning radio. What is that exactly? What are you digging for deep meanings?
Because the thing is that most people, when they listen to pop music, they think that it's very superficial and it only means, like it only has one meaning. But when I talk to the composers, you start to realize that in fact, we all think alike, that we, like even now when I'm talking to you, I'm looking at your background, I'm trying to, like I'm writing music in my head, I can't help it. So I find that almost every composer I've spoken to, and I actually believe everyone, we write about the things that we see. So we basically are just chronicling real life and putting it into a song and putting groove and music and whatever to it.
Okay.
But we're like saying, like I could easily write a song about doing a whole day of interviews. It would probably not be like the funkiest song. But like today I'm doing more interviews than I've ever done at one chunk. I've had many days where I've had to do a lot, but today is crazy.
Yeah. So you're a busy man when it comes to music. What are you doing when you want to switch off or when you want to relax? What are you doing?
Usually watching films.
Yeah.
I got most of my I would say my formal education, so the type of education that would be considered scholastic. I got more education by watching films than I would have just by going to school and reading textbooks and hearing the teacher lecture. As a matter of fact, I remember years ago, maybe 25, 30 years ago, somebody said, if you want to know what the future is like, go to the movies. And now look at the world. Like I remember there was a movie years ago, I mean, it had to be 30 years ago, called Looker. And it was, taking people's images and then they would kill the person. They didn't have to pay them. And also so that the person could always be perfect and look great and stay the same. Now like we have the technology, we could do that. I just saw a movie where I know a person was dead and there he was in the movie.
I read an asteroid has even been named after you.
Yes.
Does it make a bit proud?
Oh, that was fantastic. So I went to science school, really. That's what I was. I always thought that I would be a scientist as a profession and a musician as a hobby. But when I got my job with Sesame Street, that was my first day of college. I went to school and there was a sign on the bulletin board that we were auditioning musicians. I didn't know it was Sesame Street. I just was like, okay, I needed a job just to pay, my way, just to live. It happened to be Sesame Street. It happened to be a really good job. I happened to make a lot of money for a person that young. And I never looked back. It was like, oh, I can do this. And it was like science because you had to study. The newest technology was what you was always interested in. With science, you're always interested in why things work, what makes things go, what, like, like right now, people laugh when they come to my room and they see my clothing hanging up all around the room, because even though I'm a very wealthy man, I don't even know how much I'm worth, but
yeah,
it's of millions of dollars. I still hand wash. Honestly, I still hand wash all my clothing. You can see it hanging up over there. People come into my hotel room and they see like shirts hanging all around. Like, what is that? Is this? No, it's because I know scientifically, I know about fabrics, and I know how to get stains out, and I know how I want it to be, and I don't trust anyone else to do it. Do it myself.
I'm doing this interview for my radio show on Radio Cologne, which is called Jukebox. What is your favorite Chic song? And maybe you like to announce it for the Jukebox.
I would, the favorite is a tricky word for me, because favorite, favorite would probably be the thing that compositionally was the most intricate, but had a great payoff. So in a strange way, it's the first song I ever wrote, which is called Everybody Dance.
Yeah, okay, then I will play that. And do you like to announce that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, everybody, let's go with one of my favorite songs. It's the first song I ever wrote for Chic. It's called Everybody Dance. And that's what I want you to do. Everybody dance.